Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Bill here. Hope you're having a great day. I had a USPSA competition match. My first USPSA match was on this past Saturday. It was very fun, is what it was. I didn't have much of a plan going in. My original plan was to create a stage plan. I am familiar with, making a stage plan and seeing the dot for each shot I call, and then as quickly as possible, just moving through the stage, making sure to hit every target. If you've ever competed, you know that the stages can get very, very difficult. And I knew that, but I'd never experienced that, right? The only other competition I've done, an IDPA competition, was not too difficult. So for me, I just made sure that going into this, right? I hadn't even gotten there yet, but I just made sure that I was prepared to create my stage plan and then make sure that I'm seeing each shot, calling the shot, moving on to the next one as quickly as possible. Making sure that, I wasn't worried about time because I'm just more not wanting to get DQ'd. So prepping, making sure I'm staying safe, but I kind of know what I'm doing. I've just never done it before. So I get there, making sure I get there early because you got to sign in and I got to attend the new shooter meeting. And so I get there and I get all my stuff set up and I am with the squad 4. So there's 7 stages, which means that there's 7 squads. I start on stage 4 in squad 4. I get there and I'm looking at the stage and I'm like, this is a little bit more than I was expecting. And I didn't even know with when I did the IDPA match, they had the stage set up on a sheet of paper, like how it's set up, and then like your starts and how many targets there are. Well, they didn't have that. So I'm looking at stage 4 and I'm like, how many targets are there? You can count them, but there's just so much going on. So you're not sure if when you're going through counting the stages, you are even right. And so there was a guy there, Steve was his name. And I said, sir, could you help me? This is my first stage and I'm not really even sure what I'm doing. And he said, yeah, sure. Let me help you out. Well, he had the day before gone and gotten I guess they post, this is Riverbend Gun Club. So Riverbend Practical Shooters Club, and he said that they post the stages on the Facebook before the match and that they have all that information on the Facebook. Well, I didn't know that. So we were starting at stage 4. In hindsight, I know this now because I was just following him. So we started at stage 4 and then went to 3 and 2 and 1, just kind of going through. But what I should have done is started stage 4 and gone 5, 6, 7. But again, I didn't have the information. He did. He had how many targets on each stage. So he was able to take me through stage 4 and stage 3. And then I started on stage 2. Stage 2 was so mind-blowing with the targets and the array that they had that I just stopped and then just left and went to the new shooters. But he was saying, and again, I didn't know this ahead of time. I knew I was going to have to create a stage plan, figure out the targets. But what do you do when there's 15 targets? So for example, on one of the stages, there were 15 targets. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out which side I'm going to start on, in what direction I'm going to go, and then how many targets I'm going to shoot as I'm going that direction. So for example, on one of the stages that I have a video for.
Are you ready?
Yeah, that was the one that
Stand by.
I feel like in the moment, every time, for one thing, my whole plan goes to it's just every time, how to get here.
Finish them so clear. I'm always having trouble. Clear, hanging on the bush spot, and I'm like, should I go for that or
I decided to start on the left side. Well, actually, I think on this one, you had to start on the left side and then start engaging targets as you see them. So I'll start on the left side. I'll start and I'll engage a target on my left, and then I'll transition. The target on my left was close, transition over and engage 2 more targets. Then I start to walk to the right. There is a hole that you're able to shoot through. Now, how many targets you decide to shoot determines how many you have left when you continue to travel to the right. So on the easier stages, getting a stage plan is much more simplistic, but on your more advanced stages, trying to figure out what target you're going to shoot when you see it, because maybe I decide I want to take 5 targets through this hole that I see, and then I only have 3 targets left, but some of those targets in the hole are further away, so they're more difficult. So I can take them here, or I can wait till I get closer and take them later on in the match. It was just so, it was difficult, okay? Stage planning is not as easy as you might think, especially when the stage is more difficult. So I'm starting to realize this as I get there, and I'm just overwhelmed. So we did stage 4 and then stage 3. And then we get to stage 2, and I'm just like seeing how many targets there are and how many targets are partial targets or have no shoots or like all this stuff going on. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to worry about it later. I'll worry about it when we start going through. I know that there'll be a certain amount of time to create your stage plan to walk through the stage. So I'll just do it then. New shooter meeting. We start shooting on stage 4, and right away I can see that everybody's a good shooter. Okay, they put me toward the end because I was new, and so if you guys aren't familiar with USPSA, when you have your order, so there's 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 15. I think there was 13 or 14 of us. I'm going to say 15, but when you do your order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way down, whoever shoots first on the next stage drops to the back, and then whoever shoots second moves up to first. So every time you rotate through the match, your order goes up, okay? I'll just say 10 shooters for simplicity's sake in my squad. So I was shooting 7, I believe. So by the time I got down to stage 1, or stage 2 or stage 3, let's say I was shooting 6. Now all of a sudden it's my turn to go. So while I was having time to prepare for my stages ahead of time, there was one stage where they called me to shoot first. Now I could have asked them. He even asked me, do you want me to move you since you're new? Do you want me to move you to the bottom? It was such a difficult stage. I was pretty sure it wasn't going to matter. So I just went ahead and ran first because I knew on stage 2, because I'd already seen it, that at least I would be able to go last, and then that way I would have more time to get ready for that stage, because that was, to me, the most difficult stage of the whole match. So that was helpful. That worked out for me, allowed me to go through stage 2, but you'll see I shot it very slow, as I did most of the stages. Now, something that I found was the stages that were the easiest, or that I thought were the easiest, where I created a good stage plan for me, those were the ones that I shot the best. Surprise, surprise, right?
Stand by.
So what I'm going to do, knowing this information next time, is I'm going to go on Facebook, get the stages, and go ahead and prepare ahead of time. Get there early. The stages that are more difficult, I'll be able to look at those a little bit longer and create a better stage plan for those. So knowing that now, I'll be more prepared for the next match. However, I did as good as I could. Actually, my shooting ability is very good, or good enough for me that I don't feel like I need to do a lot of live fire before my matches now, which I've only had 2. But from my first match, IDPA match at the beginning of January, to my second match, my USPSA match, was in the 25th of January, I did 0 live fire from the first to the second match. I'm good enough with my shooting skills that I don't feel that that's necessary. Also, from my first match to my second match, all I did was dry fire. So I now know that my shooting skill is good enough for where I want it to be, that what I really need to be working on is my non-shooting skills. Everything else, the movement, the transitioning from one target to another. Like I was saying, I did film 2 of the stages. I had got from 4, 5, 6, 7, and then on 1. And then at stage 1, I was like, wait a second. And I'd been watching everybody filming, but I didn't think about filming myself because I was so into what I was doing. I'm sure it crossed my mind, but I just wasn't comfortable enough to like hand my phone off to somebody. Plus, I didn't know a lot of the guys at that point. So on the last 2 stages, stage 2 and stage 3, I did get some film footage. And so I went back and was watching. Now, stage 2 was a very difficult stage. A lot of the guys that were ranked already had mics because they didn't even see targets. The stage director, the match director, he completely missed one of the targets, for example. Because when you're going through, if you just don't see even in stage, like it took me probably 6 walkthroughs on stage 2 before I realized I kept seeing 14 targets and not 15. And I was like, where am I missing a target? And finally, on like the 6th time walking through, I was like, oh, there's a target right there that I was completely missing. So then I had to go a few more times to realize where I was going to hit that target that I was missing. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it that I did not know ahead of time. But my shot calling is really good. My shooting is good enough. I'm able to shoot up to 25 yards. Even there was a 25-yard partial on that stage 2 that I took at 25 yards when I could have taken it on a same probably distance, but an open. I could have had that same target open if I shot it later, but I just felt confident enough that I was going to shoot it where it was a partial. Didn't even have to I probably did 2 makeup shots and only had a few Ds. Now, could I have sped up? Probably, and that's something that I'll be working on. But it was just so fun, and my ability, I feel good enough shooting that now I know I don't need live fire shooting necessarily. What I need to work on is my movement. Stage planning, stage preparation. So I know, I'll be going on Facebook, getting that information, and then getting there early to look over the stages that I feel are difficult. But also movement. That was something, and you'll see in the videos where I just wasn't moving fast. Shooting and moving, I'm not bad at, but it's more the moving when I'm not shooting, going from this place to get my feet set. So that's something that I'll be working on. That's something that I know I need to do. But otherwise, man, it was really, really fun. And thank you guys for mentioning wearing thermals underneath, like just tucked into my pants. I wore thermal pants and a thermal shirt, and I tucked them in. Now, something you guys didn't know was there was an aggressive grip tape on my gun, and I was worried it was going to stick to my thermals. I didn't say that in my original video. But after you guys suggested it, I was like, well, let me try it. That's actually a good idea because I know a lot of people wear undershirts under their handguns. So I did that, and at no point did the texturing grab my shirt. I didn't even have to like retuck my shirt in. I tucked it in one time, drove an hour and 15 minutes there, and all the way back, and it never came undone. I never had to retuck it the whole match. So that was awesome. I appreciate you guys doing that. And that's why I like this channel. This is why I have a YouTube channel, is so that I can share knowledge with you guys, but also you guys share knowledge with me, and then I get to spread that knowledge. So I appreciate it. Very, very helpful. Ended up having a blast, and I will be doing more USPSA matches. It was very, very simple. I mean, it is a cold range, and that's just something I'm not used to when I'm doing classes. We almost always run a hot range. So, to me, that makes it even more easy because you just reload ammo. Even on a hot range, you're not messing with your gun. You're doing everything administratively. So, it just was awesome because you administer, well, your mag's never going to your gun once you're off the line. Everything takes place on the line, but you can reload off the line, just like with IDPA. But what I like about it is that you don't fiddle with anything. There's a spot if you need to, like if you need to adjust your brightness on your dot or something. But everything just takes place on the line. When you're done shooting, you unload, show clear, hammer down, reload, and then you don't touch that gun unless, of course, you need to. There's a safe space for that. But you don't touch it until you're back onto the line. So that just makes everything real easy, real safe. We did have a guy in our squad that got DQ'd. He ran 2 stages before he got DQ'd. I think it was 2. And he was actually a really good shooter. Everybody, that was what I was the most impressed with. Everybody I saw was a good shooter. Now, I did end up finishing 58th out of, there were 100 people registered, or I think they said over 100 people registered. 58 was among the B class shooters. There was some C class and some A class shooters, but mostly it was B. So I think that that's probably about where I would finish if I were ranked, I guess, in the B class is my assumption. So I was very happy with my shooting. I just wasn't as happy with my movement, but being my first match, I'm not going to beat myself up because I think overall I did really well. And that gives me some suggestions on some things to work on. Guys, thank y'all for watching. If you have any comments or if you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comment section below. I appreciate it when you guys do. And also, if you would like the video, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.